Right now, there are 14 million vacant homes in America, and if even a fraction of these homes hit the housing market, we would see a housing market crash that makes 2008 look like a hiccup. And gang, I've found the vacant homes. In this video, I'm showing you where they are, how you can find them, and how you can buy one today for literally pennies on the dollar. Let's get to it. We've been hearing a lot about the 14 million vacant homes that could crash the housing market, and nobody is sounding the alarm harder than housing market analyst Nick Gerli of Reventure Consulting.
There are tons of vacant and empty homes on the US housing market, with data from the US Census Bureau showing that of the 100 million single-family homes in America, 14 million are classified as empty and vacant.
Okay, small correction here, no big deal, but it's actually 14 million vacant housing units out of 142 million total housing units in America, which includes single-family homes, sure, but also include apartments, condos, dormitories, military barracks, basically anything that people live in. But not a big deal. Continue, Nick.
So if just 1 out of 20 wealthy individuals and investors decided to sell their home in the next year, the inventory on the US housing market would immediately double.
Ugh, hate to do this, but another small correction here, Nick. It's actually already the case that 1 out of 20 vacant homes is for sale, so don't know how you missed that being as it's in the same data set that you're referencing, but anyway, doesn't matter. This is actually good news because it means about 1 in 20 vacant homes is discoverable on the US housing market. And if we know where to look, we can find and even buy at a steep discount these empty homes. And Nick Gerli of Reventure Consulting is exactly the person to point us in the right direction.
These homes are owned by wealthy individuals and investors who are basically hoarding inventory on the US housing market and making it harder for you to buy a home.
What the? No, Nick, man, that's completely wrong. That's total bullshit. What are you talking about? Wealthy individuals and investors hoarding inventory? That's not how housing economics works, bro. These homes aren't vacant because their owners won't sell them. They're vacant because nobody wants to buy them. If your theory were correct and we were to look for the 1 in 20 vacant homes that are currently for sale, we'd want to look where wealthy individuals and investors have made it hardest to buy a home, where inventory is tightest and prices are most elevated by all this hoarded inventory. But to actually find these vacant homes, we do the opposite. We go to places where nobody wants to live, where there's too much supply, where it's easiest to buy a home. Don't believe me? Let's take a look together. All right, gang, so if you want to find the vacant properties that are listed on the housing market, what you have to do is firstly, think of a place where you would never, ever want to live. Baltimore, Maryland. And that's no knock to Baltimore. My mom's family's from Baltimore and I've spent a lot of time there, but do you want to live in inner city Baltimore? Step number 2 is to make sure you're only looking for houses. Step number 3 is to sort by price, lowest to highest, because trust me, you'll find the most vacant properties by looking at the cheapest. Oh boy, $5,000. Oof, $10,000. Looks like it used to be a church. Any interior? Yes! Guys, this is what a vacant house looks like on the inside. Here's another vacant home. You can tell it's vacant because it's so boarded up. Here's a bombed out, burnt out house on the market for $22K. Is this even a house? Yeah. Vacant house here on the market for $25K. Guys, these prices are tremendous. I mean, what's the median home price in America right now? Around $360,000, $370,000, $80,000. In Baltimore, you can get homes for literally a dime on the dollar. Oop, here's a $35,000 home. Is it occupied? Ooh, you know, it could be, but it looks like it's not. Actually, this one might have habitants. You know what market's kind of shitty and probably has some terrible vacant homes? Cleveland, Ohio. Let's see what we can find in Cleveland, Ohio. Oh boy, here we go. Look at this, $15,000. 4 bedrooms on the market for 61 days. Guys, scoop up these vacant houses while you can. Here's one for $15,000. Not sure if it's vacant. Oh, yep. That's gonna be a vacant house, all right. Here's one for $17,000. Might be a, nope, that's a vacant house. Wait a second, look at this. Interior swimming pool, guys. Who would want a basement with a swimming pool in Cleveland, Ohio? It can be yours for the rock bottom price of $17,000. Ooh, here's a nice looking house for $17,500. I wonder if it's vacant. Yep. Would you call that Victorian? This looks, oh yeah, that is definitely a vacant home. Okay, so I've taken some pot shots at some cities that are perfectly fine cities, Baltimore and Cleveland, that just happen to have terrible neighborhoods. But let's think of a place where really, truly no one wants to live. And of course, I'm talking about Flint, Michigan. Oh guys, $4,500 for this adorable 2-bed, 1-bath, 900 square foot starter home. Do we get to see inside? I don't think we do, but oh, there we go. Yep. 7,900, $7,990, $8,000, $990, $14,500, $15,000. This house is adorable, guys. This is the kind of vacant house that you should be buying right now. So many affordable, really affordable homes, and you could scoop up all of them. I mean, look, this page never ends. We get to the bottom of the page, we're still under $25,000. I mean, who's complaining about housing prices? All you have to do is move to Flint, Michigan. Okay, one more random market, and then we're going to Detroit. Toledo, Ohio. I don't mean to pick on Toledo. I'm sure it's a lovely place. I know people from Ohio. Oh my goodness, folks. Down from $3,500, this adorable 3-1, 1,100 square foot home can be yours for the rock bottom price of $2,800. Oh, yep, it's clearly vacant. Whew. I mean, why buy a car when you can buy this house? $4,500 for this 3-2. Guys, this is a family home. 4 beds, 2 baths, 1,500 square feet. Appears to be a bit of fire damage, but who doesn't like a little charring around the edges? And it's been on the market for 140 days, so I'm sure you could negotiate this down to at least $4,800. Is that a 3-car garage? Guys, 3-car garage! Okay, enough of the small boy stuff. Let's go to Detroit. So Detroit, Michigan has been losing population since 1950, and there's been a bit of a turnaround in the past 10 years, but it's still, broadly speaking, a city on massive decline. And what does that translate into? $2,500 vacant homes. This adorable 3-2, 956 square foot home can be yours for the rock bottom price of $2,500. Here's another $2,500 home. Here's another $25 home, another $2,500 home. Then we step up to a $4,500 home. I mean, guys, 3 bed, 1 bath, 704 square feet. Ooh, that is what I consider a clearly vacant interior. Now, you may be wondering why these prices are so uniform. Well, it's because these homes are actually being sold by the Detroit Land Bank. The Detroit Land Bank is the governmental agency that takes over homes that have been abandoned. When the tax bill on a home isn't paid anymore, the city gets to take it over. But there is a catch here. Please note that the Detroit Land Bank Authority is entitled to a tax capture of the 5 tax years subsequent to transferring ownership of the property. So yes, these properties are dirt cheap, but you have to pay 5 years of back taxes. It's a bit of a hitch, but guys, $4,500 for a house? Are you kidding me? It's amazing. 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,500, 7,000, 9,900, 9,900, 9,900, 9,900, 9,900, 10,000, 10,000, 11,000, 11,000, 11,000, 11,000, 12,000, 12,000, 12,000, 12,000, 12,999, 13,400. Guys, we've gotten to the bottom of the page and we haven't even broken the $14,000 mark. Now, are all of these houses vacant? Well, we didn't check each and every one to make sure, but I can 100% guarantee you that all of these houses are vacant. And that's the state of vacant houses in America, gang. This line Nick has, that millions of homes are being hoarded by wealthy individuals and investors, is pure bullshit. And I pity the young people who believed it. Seriously, saying that the 14 million vacant homes in America is going to crater pricing or solve the inventory deficit is like saying that used car prices are about to fall through the floor because, well, have you seen how many cars are sitting idle in junkyards right now? Literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of cars, many of which still have their engines, are just sitting idle in junkyards waiting to be put on the market. Okay, look, not all 14 million vacant homes are uninhabitable shells in decrepit neighborhoods. The Census Bureau actually breaks down the makeup of vacant housing units, so let's just take a look. As of Q1 2023, there are actually 15.053 million vacant housing units, and the percentage for sale has actually fallen to 4.4%. Another 20% are apartments for rent, 5.8% are apartments rented or homes sold but not yet occupied by the new tenant or buyer, 1.5% are homes and apartments that are vacant because they're getting readied for sale. 0.7% of vacant housing units are specific use housing, like student housing or military barracks. Nearly 24% of vacant housing units are seasonal, meaning vacational homes, either owner-used or available for rent, but don't get your hopes up there. These are the top 20 markets for seasonal vacancies as a percentage of total vacancies. As you'd expect, it's mostly travel destinations. Will some white-collar hotshots lose their second homes if we go into a major recession? Of course. But unless you're in Cape Cod or Lake Havasu, it won't have much impact on your market. Back to the pie. 14.3% of vacant housing units are occasional use properties, such as timeshares. 7.6% count as usual residence elsewhere, which means the unit is occupied, but the person occupying it usually lives elsewhere, so the Census Bureau includes the unit on the vacant list. 1.6% of units are vacant due to an extended absence, like an overseas work trip or, not joking here, a prison stint. 4% of vacant homes are under repair, another 4.2% are awaiting repair, 0.9% have been abandoned or condemned, just 0.2% are in foreclosure, and 0.9% are vacant due to some other legal limbo, like probate proceedings or a messy divorce. Finally, we get to 7% of vacant homes, just 1 million of them, that are vacant by the owner's personal choice. Another 1.6% that are vacant in order to store furniture and other household things, and a final 1.5% in the other/don't know category. So that's the actual makeup of the now 15 million vacant homes in America. And Nick is correct, mathematically, when he says that adding another 1 out of 20 of these 15 million homes to the housing market would double the current on-market inventory. But how likely is that to happen? Simply put, very fucking unlikely. Any number of housing units, from a neighborhood of single-family homes to an apartment complex to the entire US housing supply, has to have some amount of vacancy at all times. And our vacancy numbers are actually historically low right now. This graph shows quarterly vacant housing units going back to 2000. We are historically low and well under the long-term average of 16.7 million vacant units, shown by the red line. Both the rental vacancy rate in red and the homeowner vacancy rate in blue are at historical lows. They total just 7.2%, a vacancy rate unheard of prior to the pandemic. To suggest that the current vacancy rate is a threat to the housing market, to suggest that the current number of vacant housing units shows weakness in the housing market, is just completely false. And this is what kills me about guys like Nick Gerli, his imitators, and his fanboys. All of you guys, but especially you, Nick, have no idea what you're talking about. When Nick says...
So remember, folks, there's no structural shortage of housing. There's plenty of houses available on the market.
He is completely, categorically wrong. He's spinning a complete fiction out of one data point that he doesn't understand whatsoever, instead of sharing with his audience some actually meaningful metrics. Like, what metrics, you ask? Let me show you. Bill McBride is a knockout real estate analyst with one of the best free and paid newsletters around. I'll link to his Substack in the description. In a recent newsletter, Bill shared 3 amazing charts that demonstrate just how robust today's homeowners are. If you think a bunch of homeowners are underwater, or most homeowners are actually investors about to lose their shirts, you've got some data to contend with. This graph shows the current loan-to-value ratios of all outstanding home loans. Now, a loan-to-value ratio shows what percentage of a home's value is owed to the bank. Most homeowners put anywhere between 5 and 20% down when they buy, meaning the loan-to-value ratio for their mortgage starts at 95 to 80%. What this chart shows us is that over 60% of homeowners with a mortgage have a loan-to-value ratio less than 60%. And only 10% of homeowners with a mortgage have a loan-to-value above 80%. Translation: today's homeowners are incredibly insulated. If prices dropped 20% from where they are right now, which by the way would mean a return to 2020 pricing, only 10% of homeowners with a mortgage would be underwater. And don't forget, only 63% of homeowners have a mortgage. So a 20% drop in pricing, a return to 2020 pricing, would put only 6.3% of homeowners underwater. And even if they were underwater, would they need to sell? This chart shows the interest rates on all existing mortgages. Over 60% of existing mortgages have a rate below 4%. Remember, when a homeowner sells, they have to rent or buy again. Who's going to sell out of a 4% mortgage to buy into a 7% mortgage? And Nick loves to go on about bad, high debt-to-income ratio loans. Again, he's talking about a concept he simply doesn't understand. This graph shows mortgage originations by credit score. You can see that the huge pandemic spike in loans were written to borrowers with credit scores above 760, i.e. the top tier of credit. Pandemic borrowers were the most well-qualified borrowers in history, and now they're locked into ultra-low rates and their historically low LTV loans. But new inventory is about to flood the market. That's also BS, and here's why. And subscribe for more no BS videos about the US housing market.